Alright guys, I didn't want to make this video, but at this point, I feel that it's important for you guys to know the truth here. And I just think as my fans and viewers, you guys really need to know the truth about fake Beyblades on YouTube. So, with that being said, I have a few disclaimers I want to get out of the way. Number one, please do not send hate or harassment to anyone mentioned in this video. I really don't want this to become a witch hunt. I'm also not a doctor or medical professional. And third, I can't stop you from buying fake Beyblades, so buy them at your own risk. I do hope that this video will inform you about them though, and maybe you'll learn something from it. And all sources mentioned in this video will be linked in the description for reference. Lastly, this is very important, regardless of the results or this video, note that YouTube has a page about counterfeit items on YouTube, and I have a screenshot prepared for you guys. So, as per YouTube's policies, Google prohibits the sale or promotion for sale of counterfeit goods in its products, including YouTube. And that's just the main point here. So, do not be surprised if someone takes action over your videos. There are consequences when making videos on counterfeit items such as fake Beyblades. For example, a lot of Beytubers took that risk anyway and made videos, but if something happens to your channel, I can't help it. That's YouTube policy, and that's what happens. So, at the time of this video being recorded, all of my videos about fakes have been privated, so this is no longer about views or monetization, you guys. This is about your guys' safety and well-being. Alright, I'm going to prioritize that over me getting more views. So, what is lead? According to the United States Environmental Protection Agency, on their website, EPA.gov, lead is a naturally occurring element found in small amounts in the Earth's crust. While it has some beneficial uses, it can be toxic to humans and animals, causing health effects. Alright, that's the first thing. Now, one common misconception is that lead is in pencils, and that is incorrect. Lead is not in pencils. What's in pencils is another material called graphite, which is safe. So I just want to make sure that that confusion is out of the way. Moving on. We hear the word lead poisoning going around recently as well. So let me explain what lead poisoning is. According to mayoclinic.org, lead poisoning occurs when lead builds up in the body, often over months or years. Even small amounts of lead can cause serious health problems. Children younger than 6 years are especially vulnerable to lead poisoning, which can severely affect mental and physical development. At high levels, lead poisoning can be fatal. In other words, you can die from lead poisoning. Mayoclinic.org also lists lead poisoning symptoms in children, where they state, signs and symptoms of lead poisoning in children include developmental delay, learning difficulties, irritability, loss of appetite, weight loss, sluggishness and fatigue, abdominal pain, vomiting, constipation, hearing loss, seizures, eating things such as paint chips that aren't food. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because Beyblades are a toy, and naturally children will play with Beyblades. So this is why it's a serious issue. If children are at risk and are putting themselves at potentially getting in contact with lead, then that's a big problem. At least I see it as a big problem. How did this drama or fiasco start with lead poisoning and fake Beyblades? Let's find out. A few articles popped up recently, I want to say about a month ago, if not, roughly a month ago. So I have 3 different articles by 3 different news agencies, TwinCities.com, StarTribune.com, and NPRnews.org. And they all pretty much say the same thing. So I have a few takeaways from their websites. These are legit news agencies based in Minnesota. So Exhibit A, first thing I have for you guys is a picture of some fakes, which I'm sure you guys can tell. We see the packaging, it says Combat Gyro, just your average fake Beyblade. And it says on the bottom, knockoff spinning battle toys similar to these have been found by the state to be high in lead. The Minnesota Department of Commerce issued a ban on 15 similar products Tuesday, November 26, 2019. So, this is just a visual. This is some of the products where they found lead, which are sure enough, fake Beyblades. Fake burst Beyblades to be exact. Now here's what the articles had to say. The Minnesota Department of Commerce will ban certain knockoffs of the popular Beyblade spinning battle toys after investigators found they contain toxic levels of lead and cadmium. So, lead and cadmium are similar in that they both are bad for your body and they have similar effects. Now, this video is focused more on lead. If you'd like to learn more about cadmium, that's going to be on you for you to Google it and do research. But the main gist of it is that they contain lead and cadmium. Next up, state investigators tested 50 of the products they were able to buy online, both off-brand and name-brand. Toxic levels of lead and cadmium were found in 15, all off-brand. Name-brand toys from Hasbro and Takara Tomy were found to be safe, investigators said. So, do not worry, my friends. If you have genuine products from Takara Tomy or Hasbro, you are okay. They are only saying that the fake brands have the lead or cadmium. And lastly, this is from someone in the article as well. Cadmium impacts bone growth and causes kidney damage, and both cadmium and lead cause neurological damage, which often isn't detected until later on, when we start seeing behavioral or learning issues, Huff said. So it's always important that parents have their children tested for lead levels. So, lead can do a lot of harm or bad things to your body, and so can cadmium. And the sad part about it is that it's really hard to notice. Just another last takeaway from these articles, and this part just kind of disturbs me and scares me, is that these are legit reports done by real scientists. This isn't just a random person on the internet saying that they're dangerous. This is real people who know what they're doing, and they prove that fakes have lead. And this is why we need to be serious about this. So, when Zanky made his response of testing his fake Beyblades, I really have to commend him for that, because he was the first Beytuber to say something and speak up about this, which is a very serious issue. But anyway, we're still going to do our own tests, just like Zanky did, and his tests proved positive for lead. Alright, and I understand people weren't in agreement with that. And that's why, in this video, I'm going to do my own test. I have the footage prepared for you guys. I did not record audio during the video because it was a little bit lengthy. I also want to point out that any jump cuts you see were very minor, and I did no color correction on any of the footage because I did not want to make it seem like any of this was heavily edited or altered to prove a motive. But yeah, you guys are going to see the facts right here. Alright, so in this video, I am wearing gloves just to be extra safe. I have my bag of fakes right here, which have just about everything I've gotten over the years. There are a lot of different branded fakes. We have SB, TD, Flame Brand, just to name a few. And I just poured everything out because I have a lot of stuff that I could potentially test. I am picking out some parts specifically that I think may have lead. So those are the ones I'm picking out, which I picked out pretty quickly. So I don't have enough tests to do every single part, or test every single part, and that's why I picked out a handful of parts to check. So I also picked out some gotchi chips, which are all fake. And then I have my setup prepared. I have a plastic cup, which will hold the vinegar that I'm going to show you right now. So this is distilled white vinegar. I need it for the actual lead test. And it's nothing special, just vinegar. And then here is the lead test. So the lead test swabs, this is a test you can get on Amazon. It's 100% certified. The directions are very simple. 1, wet swab tip with white vinegar. 2, shake off excess liquid. After swab has turned a mustard yellow color, promptly use test. Rub surface. 5, observe swab tip for color change. And then when the swab turns red/violet/pink, there's likely lead present. So it's very similar to the test that Zanky used, where you have to rub it, and if you notice that it's red, then there's lead. And there's that scale that I showed you guys. The test is very simple. Like I said, it's just like a cotton swab that's made out of a special material that will change color after you soak it in vinegar and rub the part. So what I'm going to do now is pour out some vinegar into the cup. And once again, I'm just being careful here. Vinegar is not too dangerous, but you know, we're working with some chemicals here. So now that I poured out the vinegar, I'm going to go ahead and number each part just so that I have enough tests for each part. And I think I counted 17 if I remember correctly. And so now I'm going to put a cotton swab on each part so that I can test each one. And yeah, we're pretty much ready to do the test. Now, I did bring my X-Acto knife out just so that I can scrape the surface of some parts. I wanted to scrape the surface because the lead might be under the coating that the parts have. So the first thing I did was scuff off some paint on a fake dead Hades that I have, and then I got the swab ready to test. So you dip it in vinegar and it turns yellow, almost like a mustard color. And then it's ready to use, so you just rub it on the piece. In this case, I rubbed it on the paint, which I thought might have lead. And I rubbed it for quite a while. I also rubbed it a little bit on the metal because I wanted to make sure. And we zoom in, and it's a little bit red, all right? So this is my first kind of a warning sign here. I was a little bit concerned because that would mean that it has lead. But then again, it's the first test. I wanted to be extra sure here. So I moved on to the next piece, which was a Chosy Valkyrie layer, which is also fake. I'm sure you guys can tell. And again, I'm scraping off the paint with the X-Acto knife just to be extra sure that I get under the layer. And then I get the swab wet again with vinegar. And I start rubbing it on the part. So yeah, there it is, just yellow right now. This is before I rub it on the part, and now I start rubbing it. So I wanted to rub it extra good, just in case someone says that I'm not rubbing it enough or long enough. And I'm just comparing the color change because there was a slight color change. And so here it is, me comparing it with the scale. It looks slightly red, but then again, not like a definitive red. So again, it's good that I'm doing multiple tests here just to be sure again. But it looks like it did slightly turn red, which could mean that there's lead. Now, here's where we move on to the third part, which was a Nightmare Longinus, again a fake. And this is one of the scary results, if I have to say. So I did the test like usual, dipped it in vinegar, and now I start to rub it. And I'm going to rub it very, very carefully. The first thing I noticed was a color change, a very rapid color change, if I do have to say. So I'm going to zoom in for you guys because this is the first test that I felt very confident about. If you guys can see, that is a very, very dark red. That's basically like a blood red. You can compare it with the scale, and according to the scale, there is lead present. I have no doubt in my mind that this lead is present in the layer. So I left it at that. That was the first test that I felt really good about, that tested positive for lead, and now I'm going to continue to test the rest of the parts. So the test is very simple. Like I've said, I'm just repeating it over and over again, doing the same thing on every part, making sure I keep consistency with each part. So now I'm going to test a Venom Diabolos, which is fake. And on this one, I didn't really notice that much of a color change. Now again, I'm going to compare it. It does look slightly red, ever so slightly, but not as much as the Nightmare Longinus, that's for sure. So now moving on to a fake Orb Aegis, which I also thought may have lead, so we're testing it. Now, I didn't catch myself rubbing the layer until a little bit further, but there you go, you can see that I'm rubbing it very carefully and thoroughly. And again, I didn't notice that much of a color change, so I'm moving on. a little bit quicker now. I'm scraping the paint off this fake grand base because the paint does come off pretty easily. And now I'm also going to test for the paint on this plastic part. So, again, I didn't notice that much of a color change. We're moving on to another disc, this being a fake turn disc, or ratchet disc, excuse me. As you guys can see, I'm preparing the test like always, and now we're going to do the test. And again, here I stop because I noticed a very drastic color change once again. Now we're moving on to another peculiar disc. This disc is very unique in that it's like one of the few fake discs that I've seen like that. But we're testing the metal piece right there in the center. It's almost like a metal washer. That, sure enough, also reacted very strongly to the lead test. So now we're moving on to the gold discs, which I was a little bit suspicious about because they're very shiny and the paint just feels cheap. So I scraped the paint off as best I could, and then I did the test on these golden discs. So I just want to reiterate that if my hand moves off camera, that's my apologies. My setup just wasn't that good, but I wanted to make sure I captured mostly everything. I didn't notice that much of a color change for the gold 12 discs, but I'm not testing out a second gold disc, that being a fake gold 7 disc. And in this one, I did notice slightly more of a red color change, a little bit darker in fact. So now we're testing a fake Zenith that you guys might recognize from a Beyblade mod I did a while ago. And now we're testing out the fake Zenith disc. And just notice that color change right away. It turned very dark. So if you guys notice any sped up portions, that's simply me speeding up the video. It has nothing to do with any kind of jump cut of any kind. But now we're moving on to this fake Drake disc. Again, this was featured in another Beyblade mod of mine, which I'm testing out now, and just look at that swab. That turned into another dark red color. So now I have a fake Zwei Long in his head that I ripped out of a layer base, the Zwei base, and we're testing that as well. So, again, this reacted and it became very red, again, meaning that it has lead. And so now we're moving on to a fake Zen weight that I broke. So we're testing this part again, or as well. Excuse me, but another reaction that turned very dark and red. So now we're moving on to some gotchi chips. I am going to scrape the paint off of this fake Longinus chip, or at least I tried to, but then I just decided to test it anyway. Just did it on the paint. Didn't really notice that much of a color change, just kind of like a slight color change, I guess. We're moving on to the Fafnir chip, which did catch my attention a little bit. So we're going to see what happens here. So I'm rubbing it very carefully on one spot, and I did notice that this did turn a little bit more red than usual. And then lastly, we have a fake dragon chip. Alright, so those were 17 parts that I tested, and a lot of them had very different degrees of redness, but you guys can see that for the most part they were red. And another thing I wanted to point out here is that I did wait some time, and I noticed that the red does go away as you wait longer and longer. So it's very important that this test, if someone else were to do it, it has to be done right away for it to notice the color change. We're using the exact same test, the exact same setup, one swab for each part. We got the same vinegar, and we're going to rub it on the metal parts, and we're going to see if there's any change in color. And red means lead. I have to say that over and over again to make myself clear. So we're starting off the longinus, and you can see I'm not even speeding it up here. I'm just rubbing it, and you guys can see the change in the color of the swab. It changes very quickly. You guys can see how fast that changed. Just look at that, guys. That became dark red. Like I said, almost like a blood red, if I have to be specific. So now I'm going to compare it with the scale again. You guys can see, just comparing it with the scale, it's almost brown. It is very dark red, which means lead. So now we're trying out this random disc that I have that's also really weird. And we're doing the same thing because this one reacted a lot. And you can see it turned red right away. This is just on the metal, rubbing on the metal. It's turning very, very red. You can see that almost right away. And again, I have to compare with the scale just to show you guys it's on the end of the spectrum, guys. That confirms that there's lead. And then lastly, we have this fake ratchet disc. So again, just rubbing it on a different spot this time than the first test, and just look how it changes color. It's actually insane how it happens. That just turned very dark red again. Comparing it with the scale again, it's very red. There's nothing else to say about that. So I can see without a doubt these three parts have lead. Now that isn't to say any other parts don't have lead, but these for sure have lead, and that's still 3 too many. I'm going to tell you guys right now that the fact that there's even one piece out there with lead is what terrifies me, because that means that there are many other chances of other parts having lead. Now this last part I really did not want to do, but I also felt it was necessary for this video. So I'm going to be doing a commentary or response over LT's original video, which might be a little bit lengthy, but this again just helps support my argument. So here we go. Let's play his audio. And I'll be pausing in between.
So what is up? Okay guys, this is going to be a video that is a bit different to what we normally do. Normally it's all hype and it's fun and all this awesome stuff with Beyblades. But today I want to make a video kind of explaining and defending myself at the same time against the video I literally saw today. I'm going to do my best to just literally be a chill dude. That's it. I'm a chill dude. You guys know I'm a chill dude.
Okay, this kind of threw me off because I thought Super Beyblade Family, or at least Mr. LT, was more of the hype kind of dude. I don't know why he's saying that he's chill right now, even though he's usually the hype guy. Just putting that out there.
So we're going to keep it chill. This is a chill space. Nothing else, just chill. Alright, so basically we saw the first ever test of a lead test, of fake Beyblades, should we say, getting tested. Now, I want to say this before anything else. I am still very...
Alright, so I cut it off a little bit late here, but he was referring to Zanky's video of testing for lead in fake Beyblades, which I did also mention earlier in this video, but I also wanted to point that out.
Very wary that there is lead in these. And I will say to you guys, still from now, do not buy them. This is my collection, but this is my collection, guys. I know that there could be risks here. I'm telling you guys, if there is lead in these, it's super duper 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 dangerous. Do not buy these. I will be doing a proper test soon as I get my testing kit.
Okay, Mr. LT, you made a video on how to buy fake Beyblades not that long ago, so I wouldn't go around saying not to buy them even though you had a video up as early as even a few days ago, even though it got taken down recently, but that's another story. So just saying, not sure why you're saying not to buy them now, even though this whole time you were, or at least you had made a video on how to buy fake Beyblades on eBay.
But yes, do not buy these. I just want to say that to you guys, do not buy these. I just want to get that out there. Alright, so first thing I want to say is, right, I'm pretty sure we're not the only people, or the only Baytubers that unbox fakes.
Alright, you're right about that, Mr. LT. You are not the only person, but you are the biggest channel to advertise fakes. And so, logically, I would say you're the most accountable, or at least held accountable for this, about showing off fakes in the community. You really are kind of the face of fake Beyblades, whether you like it or not. But that's kind of what you established yourself as. And granted, other Baytubers, including myself, have made videos on fakes. We have not done it to the degree as you have, okay? So, I am saying we are all kind of guilty here, including myself, that we have made videos in the past about fakes, but Mr. LT, you are consistently putting content out about fakes, and that's why I wanted to make this response to you.
I do realize that I do buy more than a lot of other people, and yes, at the time I was like, yo, excited to see these, and I'm not gonna lie, these were pretty cool at the time. And it was recent that we all had knowledge that there was lead in these. Now,
that is incorrect. If you did just one simple Google search, you would find out that Beyblade.fandom.com did an article on counterfeit Beyblades where they state, and I quote, "Some fake Beyblades may contain lead or other toxic chemicals," end quote. And this article has been around for a long time, okay? Another thing is, if you looked at just about any WBO thread, the World Beyblade Organization or worldbeyblade.org, a lot of people have said many, many times before, and here's a few posts from 2018 where they said, yeah, they get made with lead, the way this could be made with lead. So, even though it hasn't been 100% confirmed, the idea that fakes were made with lead has been around for a while now, several years in fact. So this isn't news like you said. The only thing that's news is that it was 100% confirmed by researchers and scientists. That's the only thing that's new. But the rumor was around. The assumption was around that they were made with lead. We now have definitive proof, though.
Before that article came out, nobody knew that there was lead in these parts that could be dangerous to...
Again, just me saying, we already kind of knew this. We all took that risk, Mr. LT.
Kids, guys, nobody knew that. And the reason why I'm specifically saying nobody knew that is because everybody else was still making videos on fake Beyblades. Now,
yes, we were making videos on fake Beyblades, but we kind of all took that risk, and even I feel guilty about it for making videos on fakes. But now that we know 100% for certain that they have lead, we should stop. Simple as that.
now, I'm not going to say no names because I'm not that kind of guy, right? I'm not going to say, oh, plus everybody else, right? Making videos about fake Beyblades because one, yes, they were super cheap and we wanted to see how awesome they were or if they were rubbish or if they were good or
I'm going to be skipping a little bit ahead.
not. Basically, that's just the situation. As soon as this article came out, everybody had the knowledge that there's lead in these, right?
That is correct. We found out that there were 100% confirmed to have lead.
As soon as I found out, my dudes, I told you guys straight away, do not buy these.
Now, my dude, the first thing you said was to not play with the metal parts, and you said everything else was fine. So your first disclaimer was very half-assed, and I even told you that in private.
Before I knew that there could be lead in these, yes, I am going to admit 100%, I said these were awesome, you should buy them. I 100% admit that, just like a lot of other people did as well. And yes, if there is lead in these, do not buy these. They are super duper dangerous. And I'm still saying that now, guys. Do not.
You're saying that now because you're trying to cover your rear end because you don't want to get in trouble. But sadly, the word is out.
Not buy them because if there's lead, it's dangerous. But I would like to see a real lead test. No.
Well, you have mine now, so hopefully you can refer to that. My lead test proved the same thing as Inky's. It turned red, and so there's lead. You have the proof.
Not a lead test that I saw today, which was literally, or anything like that. The video I saw, it wasn't done properly. First, it's actually a very good lead test, and get 4 or 5 different Beyblades, right? Coming out. First of all, if you're going to do a lead test, right, you literally, even if the video has to be 40 minutes long.
Which my video will be about 40 minutes long after I edit it, so hopefully you can watch the whole thing, Mr. LT. Hopefully you can follow along.
Right? It doesn't matter. You don't cut nothing out. You don't hide nothing. You leave everything in frame, okay?
Yes, and I have pretty much everything in frame, just for you, LT, just so that you're happy.
Hey guys, so if you're rubbing and it comes yellow, it's yellow. It's cool. If you're rubbing and it's red, it's red. There's the warning. If it's pink, red, yes, there's lead, 100%. You don't cut parts out in the video, in an educational video, trying to show people if there really is lead in these, because at the end of the day, bits out. All right, guys? Be lead in these. I would just like to see a proper test. There's lead, and half of it attacking one other bay tuber.
I'm sorry, Mr. LT, but I have to kind of direct this towards you again because, like I said, you're the face of Fake Beyblades.
I'm not going to do that, guys, because at the end of the day, to make sure everybody is going to... You don't do that. That there was lead in these before. Well, you don't bash Bay about clickbait and this, and if you want to make a drama video afterwards and ruin the community, hey, go out there that these are dangerous, then that's what you do.
Look, Mr. LT, this takes priority over any kind of drama, whether it was in the past, whether it's been settled. This is huge. This will take priority. I don't care if I have to burn any more bridges, make any more people mad. I don't care. This is to get the word out to you guys, the viewer, who deserves the truth and does not need to be given another explanation or excuse. All Mr. LT's giving you here is an excuse that drama is unnecessary, but this test... this news is necessary. It needs to be known.
You do not take all these drama videos are absolutely ridiculous. That with all the drama before, guys. If you guys are fine with that, that's cool. In my opinion, no, that is not cool. That's your decision.
What's more ridiculous is unknowingly, or actually knowingly poisoning kids by encouraging them to buy fakes and then making money off of it. That's what's ridiculous in my eyes. Just putting that out there.
By the end of the day, I'm not going to do my lead testing video and bash anybody else. Basically, I've written things down, guys, because when I do the test, you don't cut parts out. When you're doing a video like that, I said that. You guys can even see in the video yourself, the test was done. And then just, when you drip it, guys, for the actual lead, okay, guys? Like I said, I'm not saying that there's everybody's sake, guys. I don't want to see an attack somewhere. That's just silly, guys. So, yeah, like I said, nobody had the knowledge that there was lead in these.
Again, we did have the knowledge. We just didn't have 100% confirmation, but now we do. Jeez, Mr. LT, keep repeating yourself.
Before we were making videos, nobody. As soon as, okay, I told you guys not know before. So, yes, awesome. To me, that does look awesome. Best looking Beyblades ever made.
It doesn't matter how they look. If they have lead in them, don't use them. Don't play with them. Simple as that.
But if that has lead, you don't touch it. There could be lead in these. That's why there were so many videos of fake Beyblades. It's not have the knowledge that, okay? And there was actually a part in there which was so silly as well that I left the group chat. Guys, at the end of the day...
Yes, this is another thing I wanted to touch up on. I confronted you directly about this issue. I told you that it was a big deal and that we should do something about it. You made a very half-assed disclaimer, and then when I confronted you about that again, you just left the chat without any explanation. You did not reach out, and I felt like you really just wanted to escape because you didn't want to confront the truth. So, yeah, I'm calling you out because you left the group chat even though I was trying to contact you personally way before any of this drama happened.
Hey, if I'm want to be a part of group chats in the Beyblade people in the day. You don't throw that up and that's it. You guy, they're everybody, guys. All right? That's all that's going to happen. In fact, that they're getting outgrown. A lot of hate. Get more. I've never had anybody else's. I don't try and get it. When I had a on Twitter, guys, and we both had said, is make your...
So I've had enough of this video. As far as his response, it was very poor, if I have to say. But yeah. This is my response to the drama, but also to Mr. LT, because again, I feel like he needs to be held accountable. It's disgusting that someone would make money off of this and still try to save their image. It blows my mind. It doesn't make sense to me. I did want to just take this message home with you guys that personally, I want to apologize, like at least on most Baytubers' behalf, so that if we advertise fakes at any point before, we really should like at least apologize. We did kind of know that there may have been lead in them, but now that we know for sure, it's definitely a no-go. There's really no reason to buy fake Beyblades. You might be getting them cheap at first, but if you end up in a hospital later, trust me, it's going to cost a lot more. And you don't want to go through that, guys. It's not fun. Do not risk your life or your health buying cheap fake Beyblades. Save your money. If you need to wait just to get a real Beyblade, please do that. It's better than sacrificing your life over this. It's not right to do that, okay? And I can't stop you guys at the end of the day. You can do what you want, but I'm putting this out there. If anyone ever looks back and wonders, why didn't anyone say anything? Well, I did. And I also want to thank everyone who supported me thus far. As far as other Baytubers, I understand other Baytubers like Leftverse and JoJo also privated their videos on fakes because they understand it's a very real issue. And they didn't go and argue with me because they didn't believe the test or whatever. No, I'm really happy that they were reasonable people and actually agreed with what I have to say rather than someone who leaves the group chat because they didn't want to confront the truth. So that's kind of it for this video. I understand it was super long. If you actually stuck around till the end, you really are a true part of the Putty Squad. I just want to say thanks for sticking around. This is it. I hope you guys at least took something helpful from this video. I'm really just disgusted with the actions of some people in this community, but what can you do? So I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.